Well, want to thank everyone for joining us here today for our webinar on 6 cool things you can do with Teams. Just as a reminder, we will be raffling off a $50 gift card to Amazon at the conclusion of today's webinar, and we're going to go ahead and notify that one lucky attendee via email. So you want to keep an eye out for that a little bit later on today. Just a couple of housekeeping items. One, go ahead and make sure you are on mute and keep yourself on mute for the duration of the webinar. Help reduce some distractions for everyone listening in. And of course, if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to add those into the chat box that's going to be in the upper right-hand corner to open that. And if we have time at the end of today's discussion, we'll go ahead and answer those questions at the end. Just real quick, I'm Ken Chukinovich, the Senior Business Development Coordinator with Summit Business Technologies. And also with us today is John Ballard. He'll be doing most of the talking today. John Ballard, or JB, is a native of Northern Virginia, but he has called Annapolis home for the past 5 years. He's been in the IT industry for 30 years in what we like to call the trifecta, which is the private, the government, and the nonprofit sectors. We at Summit have been fortunate to have him here with us for the past 2.5 years. JB is our resident Teams expert and gives Teams training and consulting for companies who want to take advantage of Teams, the Teams app, and all of its benefits. Now, most people only utilize Teams really for kind of the chatting and video conferencing like we're doing here today, especially with all the remote work we've been doing over the last year and a half. But there's a lot more to Teams than people realize. And while we can't cover everything in the next 30 minutes, we are going to be covering these 6 items: channels, using the calendar, app mentions, the search function, file management, and lastly, team and tabs. And we'll go over that today. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn this over to JB. And JB, let's kick this off. So what exactly are channels?
So channels are the way that teams are organized. So as you said, a lot of people in the webinar right now started using Teams when the pandemic kicked off, and they used Teams for chatting and they used Teams for video conferencing. But I really haven't gone much further than that. And I would say the first thing that you're going to want to do to really get the most use out of Teams at this point is start using channels. So a team is where you decide who belongs to this group, who's going to be able to see the things that happen in the channel. Once you add people to the team as members or owners, then you start creating channels. I created a team here called 6 Things and a channel called Channels. And you can see it looks very similar to a chat screen, but you also have up at the top, you have files, which we're going to talk about later. You have wiki, which we'll talk about later. And you have these tabs up here. Some of them are just links to files, and some of them are links to websites, and some of them are links to applications that are built into Teams. And I'm going to try to cover all of that today. But the reason you want to use channels when you're going to chat with somebody is this is how Teams self-organizes your work. So let's see in the example of 6 Things, or maybe I have a team called marketing, and we're doing different campaigns throughout the year. And I create a different channel for each campaign. Now, as I'm discussing that channel with other people in marketing, I can do all my chatting in the channel. It'll stay there. I can put my files in that channel. I can have a wiki that helps as a knowledge base. I can have links to websites, which I'll show you in a little bit. I can hold meetings, which I'm going to show you in a second. And so the idea is when you're getting ready to work on that campaign, go in the channel and do the work. Everything will be there. You won't have to go searching for it when you're ready to work on that campaign. switch to another campaign, do all the work there. That way you don't have to worry about putting things in folders and going and searching for stuff. It's all right in one place. And that's the real power. So I'll show you while I'm here, I can fire off a meeting. I'm not going to start the meeting, obviously, but if you look right here, you can see that it is starting the meeting in this channel. So when I go and I invite attendees, and I can use the scheduling assistant to invite attendees just like I can in Outlook. When I go to invite attendees and I add a location, etc., when this meeting kicks off, it's going to take place in the channel. So if people are chatting during the meeting, like if we can chat during this meeting that we're doing right now, those chats will be saved in the channel. If anybody uploads files during the meeting and says, hey, everybody, take a look at this, that file is now going to be part of the channel. So it's really all about getting in the channel, doing all the work for that subject matter, project, whatever the case may be, and then letting it organize itself.
Right. And that kind of takes the organization out of your hands and saves you those few seconds of trying to search down the folder structure on how to organize everything. So you've got the channel set up. We've got our calendar. We've got our meeting ready to go. How do you let people know when you're done working on something, or if you've thrown a file in or you need people to take a look at things? What's the best way to get people's attention?
Exactly. That's what I call it, getting someone's attention. So if you're in a channel and you want to chat something to a specific person, that's fine. You could say hello. And everybody that's in that channel, they're @mentions. This is in the @mention channel. Everybody that's in that @mention channel that's following it is going to see the @mention channel turn bold, which means there's an unread item in that channel. But what if I want them to get that little one icon down by their Teams application so that they know that something is there waiting for them, or I want the notification to slide across their screen so that they know that I'm trying to get their attention. That's where @mentions come in handy. So if I click the @ symbol, it's going to give me a list of the people that are in the team. I'm going to choose Ken, so I like to pick on him. And I'm going to say hello, if I could type. Now, what just happened is I said hello to Ken. Ken has a little 1 next to his Teams icon, but nobody else does. Everyone else just got that bold up at their @mentions. So now Ken knows that I'm trying to get his attention and he can respond. So let's say I want everybody that's following the channel to get that little 1 notification. I click add again. I start typing the word channel. Now it's going to let me select this channel, the @mentions channel. Hello. So now what's just happened is everybody that's following the channel, that means they don't have it hidden, is going to get a little 1 next to their Teams icon. What if I want everybody in the team to get notified that I'm talking, that I want them to look at something? If I say @ and then team, it's going to give me the team right here. I'm going to select it and I'm going to say hello. Now, every person in that team got a little number next to their Teams icon. And I find that the best way to communicate, to make sure that the right people are seeing what I'm trying to say, Ken.
Sure. So it's kind of like yelling down the hall when we're all back in the office, but without the, I guess, added benefit of annoying the rest of our coworkers as I'm screaming.
Hey.
Always help. A little bit quieter so everyone gets a little bit more peace in their day. All right. So we've got your channels. We've got for all the projects you're working on. We're setting up meetings. We're notifying everyone about it. I look at your screen. I look at mine. We have a ton of projects we're working on throughout the day, throughout the week. And I'm sure you're like me. You use a templated form that you want to go ahead and utilize. Do I have to search channel to channel to find a template or anything like that? What's the best way to get those files together?
Yeah, so Microsoft included a really great search feature here at the very top of the Teams application. And all you have to do is start typing in the name of either a document that you know that's part of the name, or even that it's inside of a document. And this is going to search through every document that you have access to in Teams, in SharePoint, and I'm going to talk about SharePoint in a few minutes, and in your OneDrive. So in one place, you're searching all of your Office 365 storage. I do get asked sometimes, can people search for things that they don't have access to? And the answer is no. If they put in a search, it's not going to show them results that they're not supposed to see. So I'm going to type in budget. I'm going to hit enter. And you can see not only does it find files with the word budget in them or with the word budget as content. If there was a person named budget, they'd show up. But it also shows messages that have the word budget in it. So I'm going to be able to find what I'm looking for using this search. I can fine tune it a little if I only want chats or channels, and I can filter if I only want to look in a specific team, or I only want to look at things that have at mentions or attachments or a date range even. So that way I'm limiting the results and I don't have to scroll through 1,000 documents that say budget on them. But yeah, absolutely. I definitely recommend that. And when I click on the document, I guess I'll show you this too. It's going to open in Teams. So Teams has viewers and editors built in for, I've lost count. It's over 200 applications. And so it'll launch this application and allow me to edit it right here. I can switch over to the desktop app. I can have a conversation about this document with somebody. I'm going to go ahead and close it. So once again, I'm in Teams. I'm able to do everything that I want to do without leaving Teams, which is nice. I don't know about you, when I switch applications, if a gnat flies by, I lose my concentration. I can't remember where I'm at. So the other thing you can do in the search screen is you could type @ up here, and you could see that it gives you a partial list of people in your company, but it also gives you all these shortcuts. So there's a lot of cool ones in here. Let's say you wanted to look at the weather. I'm going to put in my zip code for Annapolis, and you can see it's sunny and 95. Doesn't have the feels like temperature, I don't think. Oh, yeah, it does. 106. There you have it. That sounds just about right.
That's pretty bad today.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that's weather. And then there's lots of other ads. There's bots that you can use that are pretty cool. I'm not going to launch any of those right now, but check them out. And then you could do the / key. The / key is basically like a shortcut. So if let's say I'm showing up as busy over here in my profile and I want to be available, I'll do / available, and bam, you'll see that this changes over to available automatically, which is nice. So sometimes that's a quicker way to get things done.
Sure. Real efficient way to do things. And obviously, you said that you're working on all these files and within Teams. So you have, you're searching in Teams, your mentions are in Teams, that person named budget is now going to be part of Teams. But does that mean all of your files are stored in Teams, or where are they actually stored?
Yeah, so they can be stored in Teams. Some of our customers still use file servers. Some of you guys have already eliminated your file server. I'm looking at you, Episcopal. They don't even have a file server anymore. They have all of their files in Teams. So now when they work from literally anywhere, including on their phone, they can access their files. So if I go into the files channel here, you see it looks like all the other channels. There's a files tab. And in the files tab, you can see a list of files. I've pinned a couple of my files to the top just to make them more prevalent. I could also make a tab. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But let me jump over to SharePoint real quick. Every time you create a team in Microsoft Teams, you are also creating a SharePoint site. SharePoint is the technology that's been around for at least 3 decades, or at least 2 decades, that Microsoft has that underpins all of Microsoft Teams. So you can see there's a nice site that's been created. It's called 6 Things. Over here is my document library. If I were to click on that, you'll see that it'll have a list of folders. And you'll notice that those folders match up to the names of the channels that I have in the 6 Things team. So what's happening when you create a channel is you're creating a folder in the document library. And that's how Teams helps to continue to organize and divide up the work so that you can, so it's saving things for you. In other words, rather than you creating folders and folders and folders and things like that, it's doing the work for you.
Wow. So that kind of that's all right, JB. So that really kind of takes away some of that minutia that you have to do of setting up file folders, setting up locations. It does it all for you automatically, so it saves you, obviously, a couple seconds here or there, but throughout your day, those seconds add up to a couple minutes. And, that can also derail you. Like you said earlier, nap flies by and you forget where you put something, or you're working through multiple files, you forget where things are. Teams helps you organize that and does it for you. So it saves you that ability because you can just go ahead and search for what you need.
Absolutely. And let me show you one other feature for people that maybe aren't quite ready to start using SharePoint, or they just don't like the web interface. Most of the time, 100% of the time, when we set up a customer via our consulting practice through to use files, we often sync their files to their computer. I'm not going to do it because I've already done it, and I'll show it to you here. So I sync those files to my computer, and now I have a folder called 6 Things, and you can see all of those folders are here as well. Let me talk about these icons for a second. So if there's a cloud icon, that means that that file has been, like a link, for lack of a better word, has been synchronized to my computer using a program called Files on Demand, and it uses that so that you can have access to your file without it using any disk space. It's not going to use any disk space until I double click on that file. These files that have the white green circle with the green check mark, I have opened these files on this computer. And then if I were to right click and say keep on this device, it'll turn dark green. And now that will always have presence on my device. Now, why would I want to do that? 2 main reasons that I want to do that. One, if I feel like I'm going to be somewhere where I may not have connectivity, say I'm going to grandma's house and she doesn't believe in the internet, but I still want to get some work done, I can actually, in advance, click on keep on this device. It's going to sync the files down to my computer, and they're going to be available to work there, regardless of whether I have internet or not. The other nice thing is, for those of you that work with larger files, PowerPoints, movies, videos of different kinds, you'll notice that the first time you go to open a file, it has to download it. That's normally a quick process. It takes a second or two, but for these large files, that can really take a while. I mean, I've seen them take, 4 or 5 minutes, depending on your internet connectivity. So what some people do is they right click on a folder or a set of folders, or even just some documents, and they choose always keep on this device, and it pre-downloads all those files for you. So now when you're ready to open any of them, they've already been downloaded and they'll just pop right open.
Right. And that'll definitely be helpful if I'm sitting on the beach and I need to go ahead and do some work, quote unquote. I have my files available, even though I don't have internet.
Exactly.
Right. So you touched on it a little bit between the wiki and the websites that you can do. But up at the top, you've got those headings that you kept talking about. What are those and how do we set those up?
Okay, so these are called tabs. And whenever you create a channel, it automatically creates 3 tabs: Post, Files, and Wiki. You can see I've removed the wiki from here, and you can't remove files or posts. What I've added is several tabs here. One is called Guitar Tabs. And what I've done is I've linked it to a website. So this is a live website that I'm accessing through Microsoft Teams within my channel. So why would you want to do that? Let's say that you're working on a project that includes a website, or maybe there's a calendar that you often go to that's on another person's website or something like that. You could put it in here as a tab, and that way you don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to open a browser and open up a different program to do it. Once again, you're staying inside of Teams, and that's going to make you more efficient. Not to mention the fact that everybody that goes in this channel will benefit from the fact that that tab is there. I can also, if I choose, take files and make them a tab. I already did this once, so let's see if it lets me do it again. If I say make me a tab, it's going to put it up top here. And now I have a document that's available as a tab, so I don't have to go searching for it at all. And that's very useful for, let's say I have a channel, and let's go back to my marketing example. In that campaign, we have a spreadsheet where we're tracking the budget of the campaign. That spreadsheet can be listed up here as a tab. Now everybody will have quick access to that whenever they're in this channel to go work on that document. Let me click here and show you some of the other applications that are available that you can use in tabs. So there's a lot of Microsoft applications. There's also dozens, hundreds of other applications that people can interact with. This is the one that I used for the guitar tabs. You just click website, you put in the HTTP address, and you're rocking and rolling. But I want to show you this one. It's called Tasks by Planner. This comes with your application. It's built in, and they keep renaming it. It's currently called Tasks by Planner and To Do. I call it Microsoft Project Lite because essentially it's for those projects, for lack of a better word, that you need to keep track of, but you don't need to go through all this trouble of creating a project plan, a Gantt chart, a budget, list of resources, et cetera, et cetera. You just want to make a list of tasks. You want to assign them to somebody, and you want to know what the status is of them when they're getting done. So those of you that have used Trello, this is going to look familiar. It uses the bucket system. It automatically gives you a bucket called To Do. I could rename that to Don't. I can add a new bucket, in progress, and I can add hundreds of buckets if I choose to. I can add a task here. I call it Do Stuff. I'm going to make it Due Today. I'm going to assign it to Ken again, and I'm going to add the task. Now that this task is added, I can click on it, and there's all this other information I can apply to this task. I can set the progress. I can set a start date. I want him to start today. He's going to get an email, by the way, reminding him to do this. If I go down here to the checklist and I say, go to place, stuff, come back, right? I'm just making a checklist of the thing needs to do. Because I clicked on show on card, it's going to show up right here on this card, and Ken can check off the items as he does them. When he finally clicks that last one, it's going to mark it as complete, and it can be moved, just slid over to a new bucket. So maybe I have a completed bucket. And we slide it over there. And then you can edit, you can use a filter to change your view so that you can keep track of everything that's going on. And you don't necessarily have to use the bucket view, but they call it a board, but it's a good view. Now, because this is tasks, it has this other great feature. Anybody that's thinking, oh, I could really use that right now is probably thinking, yeah, that's great. It's in a channel. And so it's great. I can set it up for that channel, but I have like 50 of these. How am I going to keep track of those? Well, if you go to tasks by the app link over here on the left-hand side of your menu, which you can get to by clicking on the ellipsis here, you're going to get a list of all of your tasks that you are involved in. So you can see over here on the left, all of the planner tabs that I'm currently using are available here. So I can actually keep an eye on all of my projects simultaneously in one place. And it's a great little tool.
No, that's a really helpful tool, especially brings everything out of the channel into Teams. So like you said, we're working 50 projects at a time. Sometimes you get focused on one. This allows you to come back a step and see everything you've got and be able to organize your day, your week, everything you've got planned out. And obviously, you've been throwing this together just to confirm that Git stuff. That's for the barbecue later, right?
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. Just want to make sure we're still on for that.
Barbecue. Yes.
Yes, of course. That's already in my car. So, JB, thanks for going over this. We do have a couple of questions that have come in. Just want to go over a few of them. So the first one, which is really, actually one I can ask. So it's, how do I get access to Teams? And real easy with that one is, if you have Microsoft 365, you already have access to this application that can be set up for you. JB, like you said, we will be able to go ahead and set it up exactly for how your organization needs to utilize it. We can help you set up your teams, and we can show you all the intricacies that you would need in order to be efficient throughout your day. Also, it's not only just available on computers and your laptops, but also on your cell phone as well. So if you want to take a step away, take that walk, or just go take a breather, you can at least bring your phone with you, and then you have access to everything you need. Your chats, things of that nature are right there ready for you. Now, JB, you mentioned Wiki a couple of times. Do you want to highlight that real quick for us?
Absolutely. So if I go back to, I got to go to a channel where I didn't delete it. Exactly. Oh, there it is. It's in the files. Okay. So you can see that maybe I clicked too many times. There we go. So anybody that's used OneNote, Microsoft OneNote, this is going to look familiar, but it's essentially a note-taking tool on steroids. So you can have pages, you can have multiple pages, you can have sections of pages. And your content goes here. The content can include @mentions. It can be a link to something. It can be other information. I can add another section here. So, and it's going to keep track from over here, so I can jump right to it. So it's a kind of a table of contents that's available right there. And it's just a quick way to be able to take a lot of notes really easily. You can also insert a table. It's really a nice tool for like a knowledge base, or like I said, just taking notes.
Right. So that's really helpful, and kind of, it's like a whiteboard for everyone to utilize and just kind of be able to post notes and things like that. So that's really helpful for collaboration for sure. So obviously everyone joined today for this video conference, but for all this collaboration work that we're doing, is that side of Teams only for internal use within your organization?
Yeah, no, you can use Teams to talk to both external people that are not in your organization, but also external people to the team. So let's say you have back to the marketing team. Let's say that you have that budget spreadsheet we were talking about, and you want the CFO to be able to take a look at that, but you don't really want the CFO in the team. CFO doesn't want to be there anyway. So you can go into the files through SharePoint, and I believe that Teams is adding this feature straight into the Files tab of Teams. It's not there yet, but you can go into the SharePoint folders, and you can actually share a file or a folder with somebody external to the organization just by knowing their email address, or someone that's external to the team. That way they have access to the file, and they can continue to interact with you without being part of the team.
Right. So that
you can, and you can also invite anybody. You can also invite anybody to any meeting as long as you know their email address, and they don't need Teams to join it, as several people that have joined this are probably finding out.
Fantastic. So to piggyback off of that, how secure are those files?
Yeah, they're very secure. They're backed up by Microsoft's infrastructure. You can't imagine if Microsoft got hacked, what that would do to their business model. And they also keep, I think, up to 500 versions of each document. So as
wow.
you're typing in a document, it tracks all the little changes that you make, both big and small, and you can always go back to any point in time working on that document.
Fantastic. All right. So I'm sure with these 6 things, we've kind of have people not so much confused, but probably interested in learning more about what else there is to offer, because there is so much to offer with Teams. We mentioned a couple times, we do offer Teams training, but is that the only training that we offer in terms of this? I think we may have lost JB. Hopefully everything's okay over there. So with that, the answer JB was going to get to is yes, we do offer Teams training, Microsoft 365 training, and how to go ahead and utilize SharePoint and the other features as well of Microsoft 365. We do also allow JB.
Hi there.
Hey, have a little electrical problem?
Yeah, little technical difficulties over here.
So just getting into the fact that we do offer Teams training, and then also what about consulting support for getting files over to SharePoint and Teams? Is that available?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done it for several of our customers. We talked about Episcopal a little bit earlier, and we can help you design the entire project plan. And as I showed you with the syncing, we kind of do it in a stage that makes it really easy for the staff members to follow along with it. They don't have a big learning curve, but you can still accomplish getting some of this functionality rolling without interrupting your day-to-day work. So absolutely, we do it soup to nuts.
Fantastic. Well, you're definitely our expert here, so I'm sure people will be looking forward to spending a little bit more time with you, learning how to utilize Teams and get set up. Again, JB, thank you for going over all of this. There's a lot of information with just 6 things, and I know there's so much more available. I want to thank everyone for joining. I know we ran over a little bit today, so thank you all. We'll go ahead and make the webinar available along with a tip sheet that we're going to send out as well to everyone who attended today to go over. Feel free to disseminate that across your organization. Anyone that you think might benefit from it, feel free to send it along to them. We'll be sending that out a little bit later on this week. And obviously, just to remind everyone, we will be raffling off that gift card a little bit later on today. It's $50 to Amazon. So keep an eye out for an email later on. We do hope you win, and look forward to that one. Again, if you have Microsoft 365, you already have Teams. So these 6 things only scratch that surface of what Teams can do for your organization. If you want more detailed training on Teams for your organization, have any other additional questions, or you want to set up a consultant engagement to have JB get this all set up for you so you and your team are running at full speed, feel free to reach out to us at our contact information that I have listed here, and we'll help you get set up on Teams. And do want to thank you all for attending, and of course, keep an eye out. We will be doing another batch of webinars later on this fall, so keep an eye out for details in terms of topics and scheduling, and we hope to see you at the next event. Thank you very much, and everyone have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.